He's like, yo, this our name, Dru Hill. And it was just silence on that phone. Like, we was so mad. We was like, yo, people gonna think we local, yo. They gonna think we ain't nobody. There ain't no name for nobody all over the world. They gonna think we local. And he's like, well, it's too late. It's already on the soundtrack because you already know the way that we got signed. We went up to audition and we sang, and they put us in the studio that night to record that song. And the soundtrack was already getting ready to come out. The
Which,
soundtrack was, hmm?
which soundtrack?
Eddie, the song "Tell Me," the first song that we came out with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that soundtrack was being mastered when we went up to audition for the Island Black Music people, Hiram Hicks and all his staff.
Mm.
We went up and that song was already on the soundtrack and Dave Hollister was singing. Like we went up and sung our songs. And while we were singing our songs, Hiram Hicks was singing "Tell Me." And we was like, dang, that's rude. Like we standing here singing and he's singing something completely different. Like he not even paying us no mind. But really what was happening, he was envisioning how we might sound singing that song. So as soon as we finished, wrapped up the song that we were singing, he put that song on. He had somebody to bring him the little DAT tape, because that's what they had back then. He had somebody bring him the DAT tape and he put that on. And we heard it and we went crazy because like, you know, Dave Hollister and Jodeci is like family.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like they got that similar sound at one point. Like it was hard to tell Dave from KC. Like Brenda's Got a Baby almost sound like KC. You know, so like we was hyped that's our sound that we love. And they heard us with that sound too. So it's like, how y'all feel about this song? I'm like, we love it. And what it wasn't that Dave wasn't doing a bang up job with it, because he surely was. Dave sing anything. He could sing. Well, Arsenio Hall used to say he could sing the alphabet and make it a hit for real. So it's like the politics of it was Dave wasn't signed to Island Black Music. So why not have a group that's on your own label to push a song? You see what I'm saying? And you can come out with an album right behind it. So with that logic, they basically put us in the studio that same night. We went up there to audition thinking we coming back home. They put us in the Hit Factory that night.
Wow.
Had us to go in and do that song. And right after that, they put us in rehearsals and stuff so we could be ready to perform it and stuff like that. So it happened really fast. So when they said this our name, he's like, there's no time to argue it or whatever. But he came back and told us, and we like, we don't like it. He's like, well, it's too late because it's already printed on the thing because the CD was set to come out.
Now, I don't. You've mentioned from back from high school that Nokio was the guy with the suit and the briefcase. Who knew about the business side of things, the publishing and the royalties and what kind of deals was? Did you guys just say we just want to sing and not know anything about that, or what was it?
You just basically said it. That's basically what happened. Like Nokio used to, like, at the same time that me, Sisqó, and Jazz, we sit and studying our favorite singers, learning runs and listening at this per take 6 and these Brian McKnight and these guys learning harmony, different intricate harmonies, intro and all them learning intricate harmonies. At that same time, we all doing that. He over there reading books about what you need to know about the music business and stuff like that. And like consultants and people, like it was a guy that he used to run with that used to co-manage, I think, Shopper Ranks or something. So it's like he always knew the business side of things. And one time I remember him saying, like, if y'all make sure we good on the singing side and make sure we look good on the singing side, I'm gonna make sure that we good on the business side.
Wow.
And he ended up good on the business side. Me, not so much. I can't speak for nobody else, but I can't blame that on anybody because we all get the same 24 hours in every day. So it's like you should never, that was a lesson learned, that you should never just depend on anybody else to do something that you could do yourself. So it's like take a couple of extra hours off. You already know how to sing. You've been singing since you were 3 years old. You know how to sing. So take a little bit of time. I should have been over there getting them same books, like write down the name of them books and stuff like that, checking them out the library myself. That's something that I definitely would recommend to any up and coming artists who might be watching. I know you got a large base of people who watch your show. Like anybody up and coming, what they say, the word in music business, the word business is bigger than the word music. So it don't make a difference how good you can sing or how good you can produce or whatever. You'll be just like one of my favorite movies, Cadillac Records. They say you'll be making him rich and you famous. And what my man say from Two Live Crew, Brother Marquise, I just saw him in an interview recently on Dougie Diamond Show. He say, fame without fortune is torture.
Yeah.
And that is true. You
Yeah.
don't want to be tortured, learn that business, man. Man, woman, boy, girl, whoever you may be, learn that business side because that's take you way further than knowing how to do some slick runs and do some slick harmony.
Yeah.
Because the computer nowadays could do your harmony for you, but ain't nobody gonna do that them books and stuff for you. Make sure you get paid.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the sad things that I've we've been listening to over the past year from guests such as yourself coming in to tell us that as black artists,
Mhm.
money didn't flow evenly, and
No,
no one tells you about anything. No one teaches you about stuff. They just give you a contract. You're singing, you're in videos, and not knowing what you're paying for and what you're not. Um, but because he said, "I'll handle the business," you guys just had to manage the singing. Was that the effort that you guys then thought, yeah, if we sign here, he's got our back? So what was, or did the label have a different idea and you guys didn't know?
I mean we actually had a lawyer who was supposed to be, like
The
in
lawyers.
everybody's best interest. But like the lawyer we had, he was in the back of the Right On magazine. He was a former actor from one of the soap operas or something like that. And he just had like his acting headshot or whatever in there. They're just like such and such, attorney at law.
Yeah.
And he basically told us when we walked in, he said, "Hey, this is pretty much a standard contract, guys. Go ahead and sign it or whatever." And then later on, when we got real representation, which was the guy, Mr. Londell McMillan, who is he was like 50-50 partners with Prince, and he actually represented the Jackson family in the wrongful death proceedings and stuff like that too. By the time we got to him, he was the one that broke it to us that we basically got screwed, because like at that time, like coming from the job that we all had, making like minimum wage or whatever, it's like anything with a couple zeros behind it seemed like something like $1,000 seemed like a lot of money when you used to make it maybe like $250 every 2 weeks or something like that. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then also when you meet other groups and you see that y'all selling pretty much the same, like y'all record sales and show turnouts and stuff is pretty similar, but then you see them getting cars and you still like borrowing your folks' car to go out for the weekend and stuff like that. You
Wow.
like, oh, something may add up, something may, right? You know, and
But
it's just a thing of not knowing better.
at that point then, um, because I know that when I interviewed some others, they said they were offered a record company with a publishing, and some were
Mhm.
just offered public records separate. You guys were writing your song, so they must have
Mhm.
thought about offering you a publishing deal. Did that
The
come
guy,
separate from Island?
yeah, it was separate from Island, but the University Records, who was the production company that signed us,
Yeah.
he got us for that before we even got anywhere. Like that was the thing, and it was crazy because like at that time, Jazz was like I said, Jazz family was just a musical family. So
Yeah.
Jazz knew some stuff about the business too. And he didn't sign like he was holding out. Like everybody else, like me, I jumped in to sign whatever it was that we had to sign. Just like you mean we gonna be on TV and everybody gonna see us, not just girls in Baltimore, girls in everywhere gonna see us, man. Shoot, where do I sign? So I'm ready to sign it. And I can't speak for Sisqó. I don't know what was going through his mind or whatever. But I remember getting a phone call from Note, like, yo, Jazz holding us up, yo. Jazz ain't signing these contracts or whatever like that. Like, man, you need to talk to him. Everybody need to talk to him and get on him to get him to sign it or whatever. So I will give credit to Jazz in that particular situation because he knew better than to sign that stuff away. Like me, I ain't know what that was. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that, I'm signing away whenever somebody play your song on the radio and stuff like that, you're supposed to get a check. Like I ain't know nothing. I ain't know how nothing worked. All I knew is
Wow.
you sing and people scream and
Yeah.
you might get a check for showing up and that's it. But I didn't know about the long term money and stuff like that. So it was easy to get me to sign whatever it was. But like I said, Jazz held on, but that peer pressure is a mug and it'll break you at some point. So at some point he ended up signing it. And well, how we found out Like I remember being me and Sisqó, we used to sneak out at different like events and stuff like that. Like after we did our part, we used to sneak. Like we'd be in the studio recording the first album, and we in New York, so we in Manhattan. We'd sneak and get on the subway and go down to Brooklyn just so we could say we seen where Piggy was from or something like that. Or we'd sneak out and go to the mall, the Gallery Mall, and go get some chicken cheesesteaks because I don't think nowhere in Baltimore was doing chicken cheesesteak yet. So we'd go to the mall and get chicken cheesesteaks. And at first it was cool because our video hadn't came out yet. But once our video hit, then people would recognize us. Of course, they recognize him with their hair or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's like we end up getting chased out the mall, and the police be like, the next time y'all come in here, we going to put y'all for citing a riot or whatever like that. So keep coming in here. But like we were at the Impact Music Festival, which is the first place that we ever performed Tell Me. And it was like a whole, I think we were there for a weekend. I think it might be a week-long event, but we were there for like a weekend. And we snuck out, and I remember we saw Mint Condition that night. We heard Charlie Wilson for the first time live, and that was crazy because it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and that man was still singing. It sounded exactly like how he sounded on all his records and stuff at like that time in the morning, and like in front of a packed house. So coming out of one of those performances, either Mint Condition or where Charlie Wilson was, we ran into Nathan and Sean from Boyz II Men. And of course, like we looked up to Jodeci, like Jodeci is like crazy all time in our book. And then like Boyz II Men is right there too. It's like almost like Mount Rushmore, but just it's like so it's like to see some guys from our favorite group, we just like, wow, we in awe. But at the same time, we don't want to come across looking like some male groupies or whatever. So we ain't gonna ask nothing personal. We just asking like, look, we introduce ourselves, we from a new group, whatever. Like, is there any advice that y'all could give us? What's the best advice that y'all could give us? We try to come up with an intelligent question.
Yeah.
And when we asked them that, they was like, first thing came out their mouth was publishing and all that stuff. And we was like, don't ever sign away your publisher. Don't ever do this. And me and him just looked at each other like, damn it, we just did that. Yes. All the stuff he's saying don't do is what we just did like a couple weeks ago. We just looking at each other and we screwed.
Wow. Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, but most importantly, to press the notification bell so that you can be notified when we do have a new interview. Loads to come, but thanks a lot for watching.